All right, guys, so here we are. Got this nice little camera view going, and so just checking out the packing sheet, and I didn't realize AXP that these are coming from the Czech Republic. So this was shipped out 2 days ago, and it got here today in Arizona in the US. So I got to give a big shout out to my man Xavier at AXP for entrusting me to go out and put this thing through the rigor out here in Arizona. And I'm going to do that. If you saw my post about my stock skid plate with the SSX protection skid plate that goes underneath the stock skid plate, you can see that it's really taken some abuse, and it's really saved that carbon guard and prolonged its life. And I could run that thing a lot longer, and luckily I have an extra OEM skid plate that only has one race on it that Dustin basically donated to me. So that's a repayment for the steering stabilizer that's still on your bike. So no, I'm just kidding, it's all good. If you ever want that back, it's gonna cost you. Just kidding. But I'm really excited and thankful that AXP sent this out to me. And yeah, he basically told me, he said, I'm not looking to buy your review. He said, I want you to go and put it through its paces and then give me an honest review. Tag me in your socials, make a YouTube video about it, and we'll call it even. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And as you guys have seen in my honest reviews, I am not going to hold any punches back, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due. And I love the Kove, but the way it sits right here, it's basically DOA. It's dead in the water. My starter clutch has gone out, and I've reached out to Gary, and he's going to get back to me on parts and if they're available right now, or if it's going to be a little bit of a wait. And I'm hoping it's not much of a wait, because I really need to get out and get this skid plate tested. So yeah, I just want to give you guys my unboxing and initial impressions of the skid plate. So let's get after it. Doesn't everybody just love unboxings? All right. So I can tell you there is no packing in this thing because it's a skid plate. What does it need any kind of packing for? Just throw it in a dang box and send it. Excuse me if I'm burping a little bit. My wife just made me dinner, so I took a little break between the intro and this to fill my belly. And yeah, so thanks and big shout out to my wife for yummy dinner. But man, this is a big box coming all the way from the Czech Republic. So again, shout out to Xavier for sending this thing out to me at no cost. Woo! That is beefy. It's light though. Let's go. AXP Racing. Let's get this thing out of here. Have you guys stop sitting here watching a unboxing video? I've never done one of these before. I think I have done one of these before, but alright guys. Bye. That is thick. That is substantial. And those welds, okay. I can't wait to just impact one of these creases right here, just super hard, and see if that weld is going to hold. Because look what I'm seeing right here. Look how it's welded together. This is like two separate pieces of this HDPE, I think is what it's called. And then they've like basically melted a piece in between the two to fill in that gap. So whatever the technology is that they're using there, they have it along all of these bent edges. I'm sorry, the light cut out on me. So let's come back with the light on so I can show you a little clearer. And we're back with a little more lighting. So I can just, again, show you the welds, plastic welds. I'd love to see the machine making these things and filling in that center of those two pieces. So, you know, my fear would be, let's see if it'll focus on the end there. See where there's just that little bit of a gap right there, or just that little bit of a hole? You know, it'd be like any other welded metal, you know, it depends how deep does that go. Is it, so it looks like they weld it on both sides. Look at that. Okay, so they weld it on the back, on the front side, and then the back side as well. So any of those creases are welds. And so, man, okay, again, here, look at right here. Let me see if I can get it to focus on that, where you can actually see a gap between the weld. So, you know, if you were a metal welder, you would be looking for those types of gaps. I don't know if it's showing that on camera very well or not, but you'd look for those types of gaps. And you just imagine if you took a hard impact. So fuel pump, it's right here. And there's nothing additional in there. And, you know, if there's going to be any weak points, it's going to be where I would think the most welds would be. Like right in this spot. And here. Along in here. So yeah. A lot of these cutouts, I guess that's so that debris can drop through and get out. And then I was concerned at how far, or lack thereof, of this tail that comes back, because on the SXS it comes back at least double. But what I noticed with my Uncle Wang skid plate, my Uncle Wang exhaust versus the stock exhaust, is that the Uncle Wang's actually turns up sooner. It actually goes back further from your heel, so your heel's not touching it, but it actually, the bend is about halfway of where that SXS extension goes out. So this may actually be perfect. And then there is spots to connect your linkage guard protector. That is an additional piece. If you can add it if you want. Just whacked myself in the face. And yeah, so it's coming with basically these blocks are what attach underneath the frame, and they're supposed to be, you know, exactly lined up. So there are 3 blocks, or 2 for underneath, 1 across the front, and then the linkage guard is the large piece, and then there's 2 pieces of foam in here to put between the sides of the tank and the sides of the wings along in here. So yeah, I'm excited to get it mounted up. Excited to put it to its test. And the reason why I like polymer skid plates more than metal, one, the weight savings is huge. This thing is way lighter than any of the aluminum ones. Gliding over rocks, especially with the weight of the Kove, man, this thing's just gonna slide right over the rocks, and there's nothing to get hung up on. And then lastly, it's going to be the sound resonance that is coming off the motor on a metal skid plate. It just reflects all the sound back up, and so you hear so much more of the engine noise. And it's proven, it's known that with a plastic skid plate, it dampens the sound and it actually absorbs it quite a bit. So that's nice. And I'm super excited to get this guy mounted up under here. And yeah, should be good. Stay tuned for torture testing on the AXP skid plate. Big shout out to Xavier and his team at AXP for sending it out. I'm gonna put it to its test here in Arizona. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a weight comparison here, and I don't know how this is gonna work. Just working on the fly here. So I got a scale here, zeroed out. Got the stock skid plate. This was a spare one. This is going to add a little bit of weight because, this is why I like the Kove, because the ingenuity and the thought process that went into building the skid plate was awesome. Because if it was just a little bit thicker, maybe, but I love the utilization of the space, the water tank, which was a Dakar requirement until a couple years ago, and they've since done away with that. But it's nice, to have in case you're in the backcountry, you're going to go on a long excursion, put some water in there. Or it could be an oil tank to carry extra oil or extra gas even, but you wouldn't need that because of how much gas it carries. But you do run out even on the Kove, speaking from experience. But also, we're losing this tool pouch compartment. Man, I love that. And there's this little compartment down here. So that's one thing that I would like to see the aftermarket kind of utilize, is also utilizing the empty spaces on the Kove, because it's such a big area down here. You could easily put a toolbox down here. Just think if that AXP came with like a toolbox underneath it. That'd be pretty sick. So Xavier, if you're listening, utilize some like little accessories to put in there. A tool roll that would fit perfectly, or what we need on these bikes? A spare battery. They're so lightweight and there's room down here. So I think that's maybe where I'm storing a spare battery, is down in here. So, all right, so we're zeroed out. Let's put this stock skid plate down on here. And I already did this, so I'm not going to be as surprised. But if you can see that, yeah, right at 6 pounds. So we'll hit hold, turn it off, and you'll see 6 pounds. That's for you Europeans, 96 ounces. So 6 pounds. Let's get Big Bertha out here and test Big Bertha. So get rid of the hold. Oh my goodness. You can tell right off the bat, it's going to weigh a lot more. Oh, don't drop it. All right, hold. Look at what we're looking at. 7 pounds. Why didn't it hold? 7 pound, 12 ounces. Whew. 7.8 pounds. So almost 2 pounds more. And I have all the hardware in there. But the stock skid plate has the water tank that's empty and the stock tool pouch with the stock tools that are in there. And it's still about 2 pounds less. So you give and take. Added protection, a little bit extra weight. Wish I had a metal one here to weigh them back to back, I want to say that they'd probably be pretty close actually, now that all the hardware's in there and whatnot. So yeah, anybody out there have the Black Dog and the Camel ADV, weigh them. I'd like to know what they weigh as well. Looks like about 6 pounds on the stock one and about 7.8 pounds on the AXP with all the hardware, including the linkage guard. So I think that might be one of the reasons why they have all these cutouts on there, to reduce weight, but also to drop the water and debris that might get caught up in there. So I like that because the stock skid plate does collect a lot of stuff. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching. I'll be putting out content, putting this thing to the test. Got a trip planned to Death Valley later, early in the year. And so, yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy New Year. And I'll see you guys soon.